Well, Agra, you already brought it up. You don't want to see Fafnir, but now you get a chance to see whether or not Elevate's going to take that note for themselves, because this is their time.
Mythic in this game had a pretty good late game. He jumped up the damage charts very, very quickly on the Raijin, but that's really not why you're picking Raijin. He needs to make a bigger impact in the early game if Elevate want to get off to a better start. Raijin is the quintessential early game mage right now. He's good all game long. That's why he's a top pick right now in the mid lane. But for me, Mythic lacking in the early game. Turn it up towards the later stages, but you need him to be better in the early.
What would you suggest in place of the Raijin?
He played Zeus yesterday, I believe, or has played Zeus in the past, I know. That's a comfort pick for him and can work very, very well in the early game. And honestly, it's not all on Mythic. It's, again, it goes back to that weird start that Elevate did, and they should just probably try and be a little bit more regular with how they're going to start the game, because whatever sort of weird, janky strat they came up with didn't really end up paying off.
I think this is something that from yesterday, and it's something that they scrimmed a lot versus us. One of their most cancerous comps that we've had to play up against. I don't even like using that word, but it really is. If they go this game with Neith, Hebo, Elevate, I see them winning this game. Last game it would have been perfect because you had Cern in the Hunter role. Very predictable dash.
Yeah.
You get his beads out a little bit. Hebo comes over to the lane. Neith shoots over an arrow that's going to take out half of his health. That guy's dead instantly.
So you're suggesting the Habwa jungle?
Yes.
Habwa jungle, yes. That's DoctorL's god too. And it takes away, Unri has a really, or Delta Marine now he's known as, has an amazing Hebo. So now you're effectively taking away one of the better mages for them, putting it on your squad, and it's in the jungle. And like I said, Mythic's Neith mid, it's extremely potent. Not a lot of mids can run Neith mid the way he does.
Well, when it comes to this first pick selection, because Elevate's kind of been sitting on it, do we see any priority pick Hu Yi coming through maybe for either of these teams?
Could be. I mean, Cameron went with the Chronos last game and honestly played it pretty well, but it's going to be the AMC early on here. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Cameron played this in a game and had not his best performance. It was ugly.
We've faced this is an inside strat on them, but we've faced them. They've both ran it. I think Mythic runs it better, but this again goes down to the fact that if they, in my opinion, they do run the Neith Hebo still. I would just go back to it, because if you look at it, Obey didn't either they didn't see it yesterday, or they're not respecting it enough.
Well, I like the Xing Chen Soul here for Obey. If I'm elevating, I'm thinking about that composition. I think my two picks here are Hebo and Fafnir, because even if it's Neith is important, so maybe you do need the Neith right here alongside of it.
On that.
Exactly. I don't think she's going to get banned, and Fafnir with that double hunter is critical to making that composition work. You could also take something like an RTO for the solo lane if you want to commit to the triple magical all across the map outside of your two hunters. I think that could work out pretty well. But with the Odin banned by Elevate at the beginning of this pick ban phase, I wouldn't be too surprised if they go back to the Guan Yu, because that was the real shutdown factor for that support warrior.
Odin just really shuts down Ardio, and those are my boys. Honestly, Odin shuts down Ardio, shuts down Guan Yu to an extreme, and then they're going with it. Look, this is they have their picks. I shouldn't be saying some of the stuff I'm saying probably, because I'm not even hearing the crowd over there. They're like, he's giving away everything. It's like, all right, well, my bad.
Well, they did it anyway, so you're good. If they wouldn't have picked it, then you get in trouble.
That might be hooking them up. Obey's going to be very angry at me.
Honestly, it just makes you look like a god tier analyst. That's the most important part. That's
Chach
what we bring you here for.
Chach the prophet.
So, okay, so Chachi, you've already got the Habwa, the Neith. What's coming up next?
They are going to round out the comp. It's something that...
Fafnir.
Yeah.
They're going to pick Fafnir. Or ban it. Why would they ban it?
It's third pick, though, for Obey.
Yeah,
there's no way.
That's what I'm saying. Of course they pick it here. It's a soul.
No, I was more talking about Elevate. If that got through somehow, I was hoping Elevate would just snap, just ban, don't want to see that again.
Obey. Yeah, of course Obey's going to take the Fafnir.
Yeah, that's without a doubt. I think for Elevate, they should really be looking, as far as banning now, again, this is Soul going to... Soul's 100% going to Unri, right? Or Delta Marine. So in this case, you have Ho Yi still open. Zachsy has a mean Ho Yi. Let's get that right off the board. So I'm looking forward to Elevate doing that. Ganesh banned. It's actually a really good ban, because I was going to suggest for Elevate with that comp, they're going to be looking at Ganesh. They'll be looking at Geb. They'll be looking at Khepri. They're going to need a really, really good defensive support to support the Hebo, Neith, and Muzen comp.
Khepri's something we haven't seen a lot of as of late, but I completely agree with you. I think that would be a strong pick for them. If I'm Obey, I think the Geb ban is probably in the right idea. Kenshin has a strong Geb and has been around a long time. I like the Ratatosker ban, again, aimed at Myflin for Obey, who have not really worked on prioritizing his gods in the jungle, but if he plays like he did on the Odin, doesn't end up coming back to bite Obey too much.
I think that Kenshin also has a pretty sick Khepri. It's been a long time since Khepri's really had any top tier utility. He's not really a favored god right now, and I'm actually surprised to see a Geb selection taking priority. Bertacho, you're a support player. What caused this kind of shift?
Well, if DoctorL, I can tell you from, I mean, yesterday even just watching that set, DoctorL as a Hebo jungle is going to dictate the pace in the team fight. He's going to be the one that's going to say, hey, I'm going on this guy right now. When you have Geb a lot of times is one of the few supports right now that will go first active blink.
Yeah.
So now if Hebo goes in like that, they try and collapse on him, you blink Cataclysm 3-4 people, that's a win team fight instantly right there.
If I'm Obey, I'm looking at a jungler that gives me some CC because I don't want to allow this Hebo to pick up Blink at level 1. I want to force him into Purification Beads that significantly shuts down what he can do offensively. He has to get to you if he wants to hit you with that crushing wave. So I think that something along the lines of, I mean, Hunbats hasn't been seen a lot. Malas tried to play it yesterday to not much success. Ravana is a good pick here. I think that this is a pick that can pressure out this Hebo. You can use that overhead kick to immune that knockup from Hebo. And this is, now, if he falls behind, Myflin becomes really useless really early. But if he can get ahead, this Hebo is going to have a tough time.
I was about to say, I think Ravana's Myflin-esque, right?
Yes.
That is literally his style. He's now going to be able to go into your jungle, say, hey, I want your jungle, and I'm going to take it.
Myflin ruins mages better than most, and I can tell you that firsthand. I mean, how many times did I scream for help against those dudes back when we were playing? I mean, Ravana is perfect, especially against Neith. I mean, Ravana ult is not the biggest targeter in the world. It's a fairly small skill shot. Neith is very predictable where she's landing with backflip, and Ravana ult pays big dividends whenever you can connect. I think that he might be looking at Mythic in that mid lane a lot.
I don't think anything screams Flavor Town more than Kumbhakarna, because this is actually insane to me that they're just straight up dropping the Kumbha in this.
Do you like this pick, the Kumbha here for this particular matchup? I'm not sure I'm in love with it.
He has extreme CC. We were just talking about that.
Yeah,
would be cool if they add some CC duration stat, because Kumbha would probably be right up there. But I don't know if I necessarily like that, just because you have. Neith can kind of protect herself. We said it's a predictable backflip, but at least she has that, right? Hebo's an all-in jungle. He's not going to have an escape after he goes in. A Muzen Cop's going to get dove, because that's what every team does. And now they have the Izanami. Oof. I don't know. I don't know if I like the Kumbha pick that much anymore.
I think Khepri ends up being a lot better for them here in this pick. So, but the Kumbha can end up working out a little bit more damage, but I mean, you look at AMC, Hebo, Neith, and even Hercules, you're not asking for more damage. That's not what this team comp is lacking. It's lacking protection. It's lacking defensiveness. And I just wonder, I mean, Kumbha can play that role. Yeah. It's just a matter of how Kenshin is going to play it.
It's just that leaving Kumbha to be the sole CC, like hard form of CC, it's just going to make things incredibly complicated, I feel. If the Habwa and the Neith do not have a top or perfect execution, it's probably going to turn every single time in Obey's favor.
I have one really good note to say, right? Kumbhakarna can't go Bluestone Boombas.
That's right. He's got to go Watchers now, right?
There's that.
He's going to go Santa Time. He's going to get
It'll
that.
be Santa Time. He's got to get that 10%
If he
cooldown
does
reduction.
that, I will rage.
Dude,
in the
MVP
You're going to see him
though.
in the player cam just like shaking Kenshin from behind.
What are you doing?
It'll be the value of MP5. But taking a look at these two drafts, I got to hear it still. Josh, who do you have?
This one, honestly, that Elevate, that's a comp that they can win with. The first comp I didn't agree with, but this one I could see them winning.
Soul Fafnir, I still like Obey's comp, but Zachsy needs to be more conservative in that lane. He's gotten caught too many times. Izanami's easy to get too pushed up on because of how good her clear is.
Well, it's going to be interesting to find out whether or not Elevate are going to be able to fight back one more time, just like yesterday, or if Obey are going to close the set out 2-0. Casters, it's your time to shine.
Thanks a lot, Desk. Tom still here with Toli. I've got one question for you, Anatoly.
What's that, Tom?
What do you call Kenshin with a speed buff?
What do you call Kenshin?
Kumbhakarna. Love it. That's why Elevate's going to win. Well, here we go. Okay, fine. I'll move back.
I'm back.
Anyway, Elevate with a better draft. I do agree with the Desk on that one. Last time around probably wasn't their forte. This time, however, I like what I'm seeing. And, you know, we heard the Desk talk about how, sure, I think Khepri would have been a better pick here, but the just raw amount of CC that Kumbhakarna brings is a lot for a team that needs a lot of peel.
And not only that, like, besides the CC, besides the slows, the damage that he brings to you, now there's a baiting factor where even if after all that hard work and effort you spent to kill this Kumbhakarna, well, guess what? There's the passive that you have to get through.
Yeah, and Kuma's going to be tough to kill, but again, I'm still looking on the other side of things. Cameron by himself clearing out this back camp. Obey not going to really tussle with him too much, but oh, the miss by Nexamiss.
That's
what
a
a fantastic
problem.
name.
Level 1 Xing Chen can't get away. That's the problem with Hand of the Gods. don't have that defensive option. You don't have Shell to get an extra health shield. You don't have Sprint to walk away. And not only that, there's that perfect route from Mythic that just keeps you locked down.
Cameron's in trouble here. He's actually going to be poked out just a little bit. And Obey able to steal away the red buff. First blood does go on the support. The Kumbhakarna.
The Kumbhakarna getting the first blood. It's
Well,
not.
he's not that fast yet.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. He didn't. See, they didn't give the speed buff to Kenshin. That was the problem.
I mean, all he has is, he doesn't even have boots. He has Watcher's Gift and a mask. I guess you call him Kumbhakarna.
That's just too much for me to handle right now, Tom. I'm like trying to like rhyme with Arna here,
No.
and it's just like no,
I mean,
never gonna happen.
No, it's not gonna happen. You gotta focus on the first part of the word. Elevate focusing on the first part of the game here with the first blood. Able to find themselves a little bit ahead, but nothing to hang their hat on just yet. Big eyes on this jungle Habwa.
And that's something DoctorL really likes to do. We saw him do it yesterday, where he was able to, find the victory against Strictly Business, doing a good job with that jungle Habwa, creating confusion, actually, as to where that Habwa was going to go originally. But after seeing last game, or yesterday's games, rather, Obey Alliance came prepared here. They're going to be able to kind of try to lock him down with the amount of control that they have with Dwurst alone and Myflin diving that backline. But great peels from Kenshin, there's two different ways to play this Kumbhakarna. You could play aggressively, set up your teammates, or you could just sit in the back line. Anyone goes on them, yawn.
There you go.
That's it.
A lot of peel, a lot of setup, multifaceted character for sure. You know what's interesting? I am the biggest fan of Mage Jungle, Habwa specifically, some other choices as well, simply because I think the gank ability is fantastic, and I think that having a Mage late game is pretty much very similar to having an Assassin late game, just blow up ability. However, one of the downsides to Mage Jungle, Totally, is how easily they are invaded and punished. And right now, if you want to say anything that describes our meta, it's invasion.
Well, as long as you have the numbers, Elevate doesn't have to worry about the invades because they're the ones bringing the invade to you instead. Neith is almost forgotten about how powerful she is about invades because of the soft CC that she brings with the root. It's not a stun, it's not a taunt that your typical CCs are, but it's a long duration to keep you locked down in place. And level 1 and 2, before some gods are maxing out their escape abilities, you're able to, find that early kill, and that's exactly what happened as Dwurst was the first victim.
Yeah, I like that. You said escape abilities. Abilities that bring escape. Your escape ability is directly related to your escape abilities.
There's going to be no escape if this Neith ultimate hits on whoever DoctorL wants to go on, and Obey Alliance are looking to still try to defend their speed buff.
And it's Jelly. He's going to go and transform. Nice driving strike Nexamiss uses to get out of the nonsense and also find the kill onto the speed buff with help from the ultimate. Kenshin tossing one to the sky. Knock up. Everybody looking at DoctorL. Got to find an exit on the left-hand side, and he will. Nexamiss, however, surrounded by members. Kenshin here trying to play defense.
Cannot let this go. Nexamiss taking a lot of damage from the supernova backflip from Mythic.
Oh, the long-range shot. Delta Marine finds the kill. Totally, you brought it up. Mythic finds the slow. Really big help, but just not enough.
Not quite enough. There's too many ultimates being used by Elevate to get that speed buff. The boulder from Nexamiss to secure it. DoctorL had to use his ultimate defensively to escape. Mythic's ultimate was used onto Myflin, but he overhead kicked it just in the nick of time, and nobody was, as a result, body blocked by the stunned Ravana.
Yeah, and that's sort of the issue that I was talking about. It's Habwa right now, nothing. He's not really doing much damage. If you're able to find a knockup and maybe 3 water cannons, you're doing something. But you're pre-boots at this point. You're not able to really bring a lot to the party. So, at this moment, DoctorL not really providing much by way of damage.
A little bit of action here already 5 minutes in, mostly around Obey Alliance's speed buff. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's where the action is still going to be onto. The speed buff has been the focus point on a lot of different teams.
I mean, that's the jungle favorite, right? The old reliable. You want to look towards that speed buff almost all the time. Jelly tossing out the hammer, getting Kenshin. And I think the little guys as well.
trying to find any sort of farm that they can between these neutral camps. Elementals are just such an important, crucial part of farming in Smite, considering that they're up every minute and 40 seconds. They're going to disappear off the face of the earth, though, at the 10-minute mark once the Fire Giant spawns, and that's the point of getting that farm before the enemies can.
Early game so far, going, I think, better than Elevate might have expected.
Cameron.
Well, Cameron just stuck out here. He's just going to fall down. There's no way he escapes here. That's the old AMC. A little bit of help for the mid lane, but not a big deal. Too late. However, DoctorL going to get jumped on by Jelly. Has some help for the mid lane Neith. The ultimate going through Jelly. More defensive than not.
He missed the water sprout, which could have maybe set up the kill because the water sprout would have pushed the Fafnir a little bit further away. He would have did more damage with a Hobble ultimate, the way the passive works, just stacking up more magical power per ability used there. So slight missed opportunity. Couldn't really find an avenge kill on Cameron.
Yeah, I don't think that kill is going to happen in the mid lane at any point because DoctorL just doesn't have the damage yet. He needs to finish his second item, likely going to be a Bancroft, simply because that's the quickest item to really get going. And in the jungle, you're just looking to make an impact soon and quick.
And unfortunately for them, they also used that ultimate from Mythic trying to save Cameron. If that was used offensively against Jelly, that could have been a kill opportunity. Nexamiss took way more damage than he anticipated, and it seems Elevate's speed buff strategy has to crumble now.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. You can't really make these invades with the early invades with the Habwa. Later invades, sure. In a couple of levels, Habwa shows up, hits you with the water hands, knocks you up, and ults, and everything's dead. The players, the buff, and he just walks away all happy-go-lucky. Right now, you're looking to jump on Habwa. Backline, both stun and the nonsense out of soul, gonna miss. Dwurst tosses out Mythic, still very much alive. DoctorL, however, on the bad side of things, no ultimate available just yet. Gonna be coming up in a matter of seconds, but he has to exit the team fight.
The pull and the push was good to save DoctorL's life. Slight miscommunication from Obey because Jelly was focused on Mythic. He forced the beats with the knock-up root combination and then chased him out with the ultimate afterwards, but nobody from Obey followed up on the Neith. They wanted to get the Habwa jungle
Cameron,
instead.
Zachsy, Cameron lands the ultimate, will be able to pick it up. But Zachsy walks away, pbnjellly here, so Cameron not going to be able to get too excitable.
Even with the one level disadvantage, it's very difficult to box into an Muzen cop. He hits the cripple, you're not going to be able to use that escape ability, and then after the fact, the damage has already been used. He's going to pick up the Stinger, and you're looking at another 20-second ultimate.
Right now, everything's working out for Elevate. It's interesting to say because they're actually down 500 gold or so, and they just had 2 engagements where they didn't wind up with a kill. But looking at the draft totally, I mean, this is not an early game draft. You've got Cameron, you've got DoctorL, and you've got Nexamiss. Nothing's supposed to really happen before level 10 anyway.
Well, if you use that Neith ultimate to your advantage, you could make some plays happen as long as DoctorL rotates accordingly. We saw actually yesterday against Strictly Business how much attention DoctorL focused in the solo lane with that Neith ultimate, really allowing Nexamiss to pop off there. But this game around, it hasn't been the same story. There has been some attention around that speed buff, but third time, the defense was too strong from Obey Alliance. Elevate just can't use the same strategy over and over again.
DoctorL going to be the focus. pbnjellly finds a stun, but that's about it. DoctorL coming through. There's a root coming out from Kenshin, forcing the ultimate out of Jelly to get the secondary jump. Kenshin sends him to the moon. The ultimate out of Cameron going to be strong. Backside, however, Mythic taken care of by Delta Marine. It's a 4-on-3, but with DoctorL going down here, it's going to be a 3-on-1. As Kenshin also falls to the wayside. Cameron versus 2. Looking at the support. Jelly getting ticked down. Big heal right there coming out from the Coerce. And Cameron going to avoid the nonsense out of the Hunter. But Myflin with the kick finds the kill. Jelly hangs on.
Nexamiss making this rotation. He has the boulder. He throws it.
Miss.
He whiffs on everybody. And now he's going to get pulled back into danger. Knocked up, rooted. An unofficial deicide. Obey Alliance coming out strong in game 2.
Just wonderful play coming out from Obey. After that deicide, they're going to wind up with the Gold Fury. That's their prize. And 10 minutes in, 7-1. Obey are up 3,400 gold.
More importantly, yet again, is the experience the biggest part of competitive Smite. The way you take these little advantages and just stretch them slightly. The 2-level difference between these hunters, Zachsy able to command this lead by getting the second relic. Doesn't matter about the Devil Glove stacks. He's going to be able to even start working towards that Executioner or Chin size, depending on where he wants to go. And every level is just favoring out Obey Alliance, a 2-level lead for Myflin.
I mean, right now on DoctorL, he can't focus on helping the team whatsoever. It's Farm City for him. He just has to level up. He just has to keep going, find himself, because the Habwa level 8, like I said a number of times, isn't going to do anything when he's even, let alone behind. The impact that this jungler brings, all you have at this point is a knock-up and a really conditional slow. When you're playing an assassin or a warrior in the jungle, you've got tools. If you fall behind, you can Thor ult and hammer out. You can drop the wall. You can slow people. You can stun people. You can ring bounce. You can take a player out. When you're Habwa, you got Water Spout.
And that's why we've seen so many warriors in the jungle, both PC and console side. The safety factor, but there's also that volatile factor from the Habwa on the flip side.
That's what I'm saying. If he's able to farm up, man, all of a sudden it's a different character.
That's right. He could just 2 to 3 shot anybody in the late game. It doesn't matter how much magical defense you build. DoctorL, once he hits level 20, he gets that 5th item online. Yeah. He's going to be just a nightmare for Obey Alliance. And not only that, because of how much magical defense they need to build into him, now the damage from Cameron is going to start shining.
Myflin here. The dual lane, just poking his head in. A lot of work being done already to elevate tier 1 tower in the dual lane. Almost brought down here, sitting at like 10% or so. So Elevate have gotten some decent poke on their tower. Cameron going to take some decent poke from Myflin right there. But here comes Kenshin, going to isolate the jungler, and Zachsy shows up, just tossing the basics out, saying don't hit him, and they say fine.
I like the fact that Myflin actually hid inside the purple buff, baiting out some Elevate members to get a little bit closer to Zachsy.
He misses the water cannon. Dwurst able to get out of there. Not a good look for Elevate DoctorL today on this Habwa.
Cameron taking a lot of damage, sitting at the yellow without much mana to follow up. He's going to have to back, and look who's rotating underneath. Jelly's here. It's going to be a 3-on-1. Trying to hold this tower is Nexamiss.
And Kenshin here going to get hit by the ultimate, and well, I think that was predictable, totally. I'm pretty sure we all saw that one coming.
Yeah, once Jelly started to make this rotation, there was no possible way for Kenshin to be able to hold that tier 1 tower. Cameron now making this rotation happen. 3-on-1 in the dual lane and a 2-on-0 though, as Elevate though respond in kind, getting a solo tower for their trouble.
But Obey looking at the tier 2 this time around. Cameron the only one to play defense, and he's going to be playing it in the fountain. Jelly, Myflin, Zachsy, and Delta Marine shows up as well. The tier 2 tower at 13 minutes goes down. Obey like, no, not going to be able to take it out. But Dwurst takes out DoctorL on the other side of the map. 10 kills in total. And I spoke too soon. That tier 2 tower will stay alive for the moment.
For the moment, but honestly, it doesn't matter who goes there. I would really like to prefer Dwurst to just make that rotation happen in the dual lane. Just really sneeze at the tower really quickly, and then set up for the Gold Fury in about 1 minute and 15 seconds, and trying to get some ward vision.
Yeah, when I see a tower like that, actually minions are going to take it down, which is kind of hilarious. When I see a tower like that, I kind of sit there.
And listen to them. They're just yelling about the tower going down to minions.
Hey, man, that's winions. That's a win all the time. I get excited about that stuff. You gotta. We've seen Titans be taken down by minions.
Remember ALG.
Oh my goodness.
Hashtag. Remember the Titan.
Remember the Titan. That was a good one, totally. I like that one. Fresh. Right now, any given Saturday for these two teams, 14 minutes on the clock, 11 kills. Obey have 10 of them. That's rough stuff. 5,000 gold in the lead as well. Elevate able to bite back just barely. And Obey have, it feels like their lead is so much stronger because they've had control of this the entire time.
It seems that way, right? The way they started off the game by able to invade the speed buff, find the kill onto Dwurst, successfully invading the second time around, losing a member here or there. Third time, not so much, though. Cameron missing out that stinger. Zachsy's able to farm out here. Gold Fury respawning in 5 seconds. Recognizing this, Obey Alliance are positioning themselves around this objective.
Another one of the downsides to the mage jungle, which is funny, it sounds like I'm being the big bully, but mage jungle is one of my favorite things. But there are a lot of caveats to these choices. DoctorL here, not as itemized as his opponent.
Blink onto DoctorL. Look at that defensive ultimate used very early.
Yeah, I mean, he had to. Gold Fury being started, 75% already. Obey Alliance have control of the objective. Kenshin by himself, just doing nothing, trying to bait the guys in. Meanwhile, here comes Nexamiss, baited him a little bit too quickly. And Kenshin falls down to the basic attacks out of Zachsy. Meanwhile, off screen, DoctorL going to be in trouble. Mythic in trouble as well. Dwurst finding the basics, and the backflip is good. Roar will be missed, but Dwurst chases him out. And that gives his team room to, well, deal with the Hercules coming up top. And then eventually look at the Gold Fury.
It's a 5-on-3 as Kenshin's respawning in 5 seconds. He won't get to the Gold Fury in time. Cameron needs to be careful. He's by himself. Jelly getting off the double stun while Dwurst is going to continue the chase. This double hunter here is going to get double rooted by Dwurst. No one else from Obey Alliance though want to follow up. They're very happy and contempt about that second Gold Fury.
Yep, that's all they really want. 8K just slowly pushing their lead up. Able to maintain and, you know, keep going with it. And that gold lead is what Obey need to really deal with this team. I wanted to really mention the gold on Elevate. If you look at what Myflin's building, right? Boots, and then Enchile, cheap item. The itemization coming out for the assassins or the warriors in the jungle, also just cheaper than what the Habwa is going to be able to buy. Book of the Dead, a little bit, you know, that's one of the less expensive items he has available to him.
And trying to survive. Normally, Habwas don't even build Book of the Dead, but considering how much focus is on this Habwa jungle, he's forced into it, unfortunately. You know, there are some other options, potentially rushing Warlock Sash, but as a jungle Habwa, that's definitely not the case.
Warlock Sash, I would even call it a non-option here. I actually don't love the Book of the Dead in this instance, and I think I might be alone on this one, just because at this point in the game, totally, you need to be effective now, and you want to buy the cheapest stuff, because Habwa doesn't exist. This is a 5-on-4.
It's true, and it's going to be about a 3-on-2 here as the rotation from Dwurst make that a 5-on-2 as Delta Marine and Myflin are positioned around this Portal Demon. The rest of Elevate, they want to go for this Tier 1 mid tower. They can't even contest this Portal Demon.
I like that play. The Tier 1 mid tower is worth more than the Portal Demon in my eyes at this point in time. If Obey doesn't get a Fire Giant off of the Portal, I think the Tier 1 tower is more important.
They're going to try to go for this Fire Giant as Nexamiss is here with the Boulder. The rest of Obey are going to stop DPS, though, except for Delta. He's going to still remain on. There goes the Boulder. He's actually going to try to take out Zachsy with it instead to sacrifice his own life.
Meanwhile, one more time, Cameron finds himself split pushing in a situation that he can't control. DoctorL shows up, but he'll be chased out towards the enemy base, which is not the direction he wants to head. Fire Giant leashed, healed, but picked up one more time. Half HP on the objective. DoctorL gonna fall down. The ultimate used to get through traffic. He's stunned and he's gone just easily.
This is a bait, though, because look what's happening on the left-hand side. These two hunters, Mythic and Cameron, they want to get the Phoenix.
Oh, here comes Kenshin. Obey is able to take care of it, but Kenshin, he's going to try Kenshin versus the world. Couple of basics will bring him down. Delta Marine trying to chase him. Kenshin on the right side, making his way to the mid side. Traveling all across the globe, but he comes up flat. pbnjellly puts him down. Number 16 for Obey Alliance. However, like you mentioned, Elevate take down the Phoenix.
The Phoenix gets taken out by these double physical hunters. It was DoctorL, it was Nexamiss, and Kenshin sacrificing themselves off of the earth to be able to secure the Phoenix on the left.
And that is the play you have to make if you're Elevate. Look at the player damage right now. It's abysmal. Your mid laner, your jungler, and your solo laner are combined for 12,000 damage. Myflin alone has 10.5.
Yeah.
It's not like
that's a Robin jungle for you there. His base damage on his first ability is high enough to allow you to go for this resilient option.
And it's just, those are your damage dealers. Your mid laner and your jungle are your carries. That's what's supposed to happen. Now, Cameron, 7K, respectable. He's literally even with his opponent, sure. But everybody else on Elevate has been significantly underperforming. Cameron's the one that got that Tier 1 tower in the middle lane. Cameron's the one that split push on the left-hand side. Everyone else on Elevate is just not showing up, and that's an issue. This is a team game.
5-on-5, and that's exactly what's been working in Obey's favor. They did make that one juicy play to get the left side Phoenix, but that's been it in this 2-game set thus far. And Obey Alliance, even though they lost that left side Phoenix, they're not too worried about here. They have the Fire Giant still for 2 more minutes, and they're keeping Dwurst there to make sure that the fire minions aren't going to just sneak into that Titan room.
I do want to say there's something to be said about Elevate, and I got to tip my hat to the intelligence of the squad, understanding what fights to take and what fights not to take. That Portal Demon fight for the mid tower, screw it, you're not going to get it. And then that decision to split push on the left-hand side while you basically throw away your 3 tanks, again, I'm down. You're not winning that fight. Down 6,000 gold with an underdeveloped Habwa jungle. It's not going to happen by the Fire Giant. Just give it up and get something better. I think Elevate made the right choice identifying that they were down this far and shifted their gameplay for it totally. But unfortunately, they're down this far.
I think it just came off of the result of doing the same thing over and over again, getting read like a book in terms of invading the speed buff, right? It worked out for them the first time around, getting the kill onto Dwurst. Obey Alliance made the necessary adjustments to prevent that from happening ever again. I would have liked to see Elevate maybe invade the red buff at the 3.5 to 4 minute mark, trying to shut out Zachsy and put Cameron in a great late game position.
I agree. I think that third invade coming out from Elevate when they got trucked, I think that was maybe not the moment where they lost the game. I think there's still more Smite to be played, despite the fact that Elevate down over 10,000 gold. But at the end of the day, you've got Habwa and an AMC. I think you're always kind of relevant as long as these items can get online. Habwa, he's trying. Definitely the moment that Elevate needed to check themselves, because they kind of wrecked themselves. They just got in trouble, man. Habwa needs to farm, dude. He's down 4 levels, and he's just not itemizing cheaply. He needs to just get effective. He hasn't done anything.
Today is a good day for Obey Alliance on this Saturday. They were splitting yesterday against Enix. They're going to walk away here probably with a 2-0 victory, and this is going to separate themselves to the rest of the pack of the group.
Yeah. I mean, Obey playing like the team they're supposed to. Elevate, however, you know, and this is a team. Elevate are not a bad squad. Cameron again trying to put his star boys together, if you will, and it's just the Habwa jungle is a pick that I like. I question it in the world of early invades. And you brought up the fact, well, if you're being the aggressor, who cares? But the problem is when the other team just outsmarts you and they're like, we're expecting you to be the aggressor. We'll just step on you. And now you're a level 14 Habwa at 23 minutes with 3 items.
It's just not looking pretty whatsoever for DoctorL. He's been one of these players in the SCL that's been throwing a lot of confusion and picks and bans during the game plan as well, you know, between Morgan, jungle every now and again, and then some fancy stuff between solo and mid, and now jungle the way he's playing it now, and he's just getting focused and ran down.
Not enough damage. I mean, he ults Myflin, and it just tickles him, not even. And let it be known, let it be known, I am not just a fan of the Habwa jungle, I'm a fan of DoctorL's. I like his play style. I think it's fun when how he's able to keep people on their toes. His god pool is eclectic and effective most of the time. This is just an off game for DoctorL. Unfortunately for Elevate and their fans, I think this jungle selection, not just a performance, but the selection as well, is keeping Elevate in the L column this game.
And they just can't find a response at all here. Second Fire Giant going for Obey Alliance. They didn't get any Phoenixes with their first one simply because they had to try to hold that left side from Fire Mini Waves for just so long. But now's the time for Obey Alliance to shine and get the second win in the 2-game set.
And again, kind of I can't make any promises, but one of the last times I speak about this jungle Habwa, Obey are doing the right thing. Hebo is very similar to Hell in the sense that you have to keep him down at all points in the game. If Hebo is 0-8, but able to build 5 items, he's still going to kill you. He can be 0-10 and still kill you. But Obey Alliance has focused him every single step of the way, and that's what's giving them the lead.
A nice little root from, or a mez rather, from Kenshin, just delaying the push inevitably from Obey Alliance. The reset has happened. They're going to sustain a little bit with that Fire Giant buff onto Dwurst, taking a big chunk of his health pool. Nexamiss, though, he's not been hitting these pulls in the sieges.
He's not been hitting much of anything, honestly. The level 1 fight, Nexamiss actually misses the driving strike, which might have even saved First Blood. Instead, just off the money, accuracy, not his strong suit just yet. Right now, mid lane Phoenix going to go down. Big ups to Dwurst, who's focusing the objective while the team's focusing the team fight. Then he shifts gears,
Kenshin.
tosses 2 players towards
Look at that
Obey.
knockup from Kenshin, knocking up Zachsy. He's buying so much time for the rest of his team to just hold on for the moment. It's just a pure delay tactic.
Meanwhile, Obey Alliance, I mean, they get distracted towards the direction of their next objective. Left side Phoenix, already brought down to about half HP. No defense from Elevate. Left side goes down for free.
Look at this damage, though. Look at the damage. Jelly caught alone. Quad. Was that a
That was a
quadruple?
quad knockup.
Imagine an ultimate after that from a Habwa. That's like the dream.
Except he's level 14 with 3.1 items, and it wouldn't hurt anybody. He'd be in the middle of an entire team. They'd turn around and kill him.
Well, after the ultimate, he gets off the water cannons.
No, he doesn't. He dies.
No, he still has time to get off one
No, he
water
dies.
cannon.
He just dies.
Because that's on the tail end of them landing from the knockup still.
Well, Cameron takes care of Zachsy. There's toss of 2. Dwurst gonna run away. Here comes DoctorL looking at 1. Gets him with the water spout. There it is. Looking for the shift here. Finally, Nexamiss on the money. Cameron gets another kill. And one more time. Cameron is the heart and soul of this team. He keeps his squad in it through and through. And in this team fight, Cameron finds Jelly. That allows everything else to spiral out of control.
Tom, I think we have a game here. Elevate. They're able to take out 4 members from Obey Alliance as Jelly has respawned. And that's the reasoning why things started to cycle out of control as Jelly took an early spill. And Elevate, they got the left side Phoenix earlier on. It has
It's
respawned
weakened.
now, and indeed, it will be easier to take out this time around. And now with 4 on 2, it's up to Jelly and Myflin to hold. But now, around the corner, making the rotation, DoctorL trying to do the damage.
Keep Cameron alive. Keep Cameron alive. That's what Elevate needs to do. Can't even get the left side weakened Phoenix.
There's not too much mana, unfortunately, for Elevate. They don't have the MP5 after that team fight. No one had the time or luxury to back to base and regen their mana.
Gold Fury is a great call here. Got to make sure they're able to take care of it quickly.
I don't
Myflin and
know.
Jelly here, local. Nexamiss gets a driving strike on 1. Gold Fury goes down. Elevate's strong. Get the hell out of there. Elevate need to eject. Kenshin with the right idea. Nexamiss with the wrong idea. Jelly jumps on the team. Transformation. Obey. Chasing Elevate. Get out. Get out.
Kenshin is able to get out indeed as Jelly gets rooted into place. Mid Phoenix fell as well as the left side Phoenix. As Tian actually took a decent amount of its health off of those fire minions, but the rest of Obey Alliance are just setting themselves up for the next Fire Giant, respawning in 50 seconds. Unfortunately for Elevate, they found that 4 for 1, but they couldn't get a Phoenix traveling all the way down those lanes, just too long.
Leave Neith home. Take care of all the minions. 4 versus 5 at the Fire Giant. Yay or nay? Neith ult.
It's so risky.
Because here's the here's my deal. Let me just elevator pitch, right? Leave Neith home, 4v5 at the Fire Giant. If you 5v5 at the Fire Giant and you lose, game over. If you give up the Fire Giant, game over. If like no matter what, it's gonna be game over, right?
Yeah, but
Hail Mary?
you got to make a Hail Mary play, but it's just there's no possible Hail Mary plays. Left side Phoenix, mid for the Fire Giant wasn't coming up in time for them to do anyway. So this Neith play is also very beneficial in terms of sieging these Phoenixes, maybe even knocking down Fire Giant a little bit quicker. The global ultimate, you know, this late in the game doesn't really matter.
No, it's just a stun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're
It
looking
does
for.
no damage here.
Right now, the choice from Elevate was a little bit more safe than what I recommended. Generally going to be the case. No defense on the Fire Giant. All defense on the mid lane Phoenix. 29 minutes in.
Trying to find this middle Phoenix yet again after the respawn. Obey Alliance looking strong with their third Fire Giant. As long as they don't have Jelly having an unfortunate mishap, they should get this cleanly.
Very low is the objective. Obey Alliance willing to look elsewhere. Big damage on Elevate Kenshin and Cameron. but able to sustain so far. Bird is up. Couple of basics coming out from the Hunter, who can't find his way in. Nexamiss goes out. That's big damage coming out from Hobwa, Delta Marine, and Zachsy on the bad side of things. Those are the players you want to focus. Great job coming out from Elevate.
The pull, and then the knock-up from Kenshin landing back down onto Dwurst. Delta Marine gets taken out early in this exchange. Yet again, Obey Alliance, they lose a member very early in the siege. They did get the middle Phoenix, so the Titan of Elevate is vulnerable if they find some more picks.
Zachsy is the one that everybody needs to be looking at here. Instead, it's going to be Nexamiss as he gets taken out by said Zachsy. Myflin in trouble, rooted, but able to walk away, relatively tanky. And Toli, Elevator playing a lot better right now.
Late game Hobwa, level 17. Not 3 items anymore. It's about 4.5. Rod of Tahuti is the big changing factor. That 25% magical power increase is just going to be playing huge dividends. Player damage not too high on any member here in the game, currently 31 minutes in, but look specifically at where DoctorL is lying right now at 13.5. As long as these teamfights keep lasting longer and longer, those numbers are going to grow.
Nexamiss is hitting his abilities, and DoctorL actually has abilities. That's the difference here for the late game Elevate. However, DoctorL already brought down to about half HP. Kenshin taken care of completely. Cameron already half as well. Elevate trying to play defense with just 1.5 players. As DoctorL has to go back to the fountain. Mythic is here and healthy. Here comes Nexamiss. He's going to be a good look to play defense. Coming out comes the Hobwa, tossed out towards the back line. Does have the ultimate, but he's killed before he can even hit the ground. Cameron takes care of Zachsy. Again, the leader of this team, keeping them alive. Defensive stop on the right-hand side, and you can all tip your hat to the big bug.
It's still a 2-for-1 though for Obey. They got the 2 Phoenixes earlier on. There's going to be some fire minions flooding in the left side and mid very soon here. Right side Phoenix being aggressed on. It's at about 75% health. The damage coming on out through from Delta Marine because he's playing the Soul. He melts these Phoenixes pretty quickly.
Oh man, right side Phoenix goes down for Elevate. Things almost started to align, Toli. Game still alive. She hasn't sung just yet, but Cameron, DoctorL, Nexamiss are starting to work. They're starting to get things going.
DoctorL unfortunately didn't have beats during that Xing Shen ultimate. Had he had that, been able to avoid that initial pull, that ultimate that he died with could have maybe took out Delta Marine, and that would have been the secondary damage dealer onto these Phoenixes. Without Zachsy, without Delta Marine, there is no Phoenix Siege from Obey.
Exactly. You know, that's one of the problems coming out for the Hobwa player. Last item, I honestly would like to see a Magi's Blessing.
Yeah,
I've been asking for damage all day.
Maybe even a Wing Blade to get away from the slows from Myflin.
Sure.
You do have the water carpet though, so you don't necessarily need it. Yeah. But could be a secondary option. Anything with health wouldn't really hurt DoctorL.
Yeah, if you want, I'm not like upset if he decides to go pure aggression.
Oh,
the miss, DoctorL, you can't do that.
No, he actually knocked him up. Answered the ultimate, didn't like actually kill him completely. The Aegis bought him some time from the Neith ultimate, but finding the early pick onto Delta Marine.
That's a good look. Meanwhile, Kenshin sends one to the moon. DoctorL gonna give chase up to.
Oh, he got hit by the Furious Roar and the jump. Dwurst answers in kind, 1-for-1, mid for mid.
DoctorL blinks away from Myflin. Kenshin on the other side, not as lucky. Zachsy puts number 23 on the board, but plenty of people like Obey Alliance grouped up as 4. Delta Marine on the bench for the 3 here, looking for the mid lane Phoenix. Zachsy, everybody else, good shots. They have their carries. They have their damage. DoctorL trying to do what he can, but what he can do is stunted.
These damage dealers are still alive for Elevate between Cameron and DoctorL. Red buff even on the Muzen cop, forced to use that beats very early in Obey Alliance. They want to commit here.
Just going for the Titan, half HP so far. Dwurst and Myflin are on it. Zachsy, somebody look at Zachsy. He's flipped away. Beautiful play by the solo laner. However, the damage is there. The damage is good enough. Obey Alliance take game number 2.
Just well-played performance from the world-defending champions. Obey Alliance looking so ecstatic after that victory. Now going to separate themselves a little further away from the pack because, you know, it was a split. I think their entire group was split earlier before today even began. So now Obey Alliance are going to walk away with these 3 points, sitting pretty at 4.
Like I said, Elevate's composition started to come online when they were 3 Phoenixes down, 12K down, just too little too late. When you're playing these late game compositions, when you're playing these mage jungles specifically, you gotta focus on the farm. I think they got a little bit too ahead of themselves. They had some success in the early game, and I've got a saying, you gotta play your lead. When you got a lead, you gotta be aggressive. Play your lead, but don't let your lead play you. And I think that's exactly what happened with that third speed buff invade, and it all crumbled from there.
For a Ravana, he doesn't necessarily always need a speed buff, and I think that Elevate were just too ambitious all the time there. You know, third time's a charm, that's what they say, and that's exactly what Obey Alliance are thinking on being able to defend that speed buff.
With that said, Obey Alliance take the set 2-0. I will say, Elevate, they've got some legs there. There is possibility. Reel it in, we might see a better team. This time, it's Obey's.
Sparks of life from Elevate, but not quite enough to ensure that they don't get 2-0'd by Obey. Incredibly clean game, I think, in game number 2. Definitely shaped up a little bit more around their performance. And I mean, we actually were just talking about it. That Kumbhakarna pick, Chach, what are your thoughts on that?
They got them the first blood, but I don't think it was really useful after that. Didn't provide much. Aggro actually brought up a very good point. Jade Emperor's Crown is actually a really good item right now against when you do a warrior jungle, because their first item after is either going to be Glads or Ansile. Both of those don't provide a lot of physical power, so you're pretty much shutting down already the power that he gets from his boots and even some that's coming from your first core item.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, that's got to be built there for Kenshin in my mind. And then the build for DoctorL also was questionable because he falls super far behind on the Hebo jungle, and he goes for Book of the Dead, which is really expensive when he's got Bancroft's talent in that same tree sitting there, cheap power, and then he goes for a Spear of Desolation after that when he needs percent pen because of how far ahead all these warriors are. Builds, I know I talk about them all the time. People probably get sick of me harping on them, but you either handicap yourself or set yourself up for great success with how you build and how you set yourself up in the game. And for me, those two in particular, DoctorL and Kenshin, should have tweaked what they were doing a little bit, and it could have helped them come back in that game a little bit earlier.
A little bit of a reap what you sow scenario, but I mean, Dwurst was having the time of his life again in game number 2. We saw it in game number 1 where he was just absolutely popping off, and then he's allowed to get the same thing in game number 2. Xing 10 and Dwurst just go hand in hand.
I feel like I've seen this like character screen more often than any other one because Xing Chen, like every time someone plays Xing Chen, it's like, well, they killed it again. I mean, this god has just been dominated.
I think it's also Dwurst's best god, hands down. You gave it to him again. And when you have hype man Myflin just yelling out, "Get him, Derek! Get him, Derek! Get him, Derek!" Like, just keep screaming at him. He's just going right into your back line, and when you have someone just yelling at you to just keep going, even when you're at a quarter health, he just was not giving up. He was relentless.
He was great in the front line. That solo kill onto DoctorL that we saw at the beginning of this highlight was really good. I mean, using the thorns, predicting where he's going to end up with the crushing wave. That's just a veteran right there in the solo lane. And Nexamiss didn't have nearly the impact on the Hercules that he did on the Sun Wukong. I mean, that pick fell pretty flat in my mind.
Yeah, that again, it comes down to that invade. If you're going to invade, make sure you capitalize on it. They get a good invade off. They get a first blood. But where did that go after that? They kind of like stalemate, didn't keep setting the pace. And Obey, I said it to Taco, I think it was, 10 minutes into the game when we were watching. I'm like, man, this is one of the cleanest games I've seen by Obey. Aside from the ending, they seemed like they were a little lost trying to end the game. But up until that point, that was just a flat-out clean victory. Getting Gold Furies while 4 people are doing something. Zachsy's on Gold Fury, just taking a Gold Fury. Like, that's multiple minds working at the same time. That's what you want from your team.
It just felt like no matter what Elevate did, even if they were dealing a decent bit of player damage, it wasn't anything near what Obey was able to put out. Zachsy in particular, I mean, he had an excellent game, 26,000 damage, and on top of that, he had the front line for it. I think that was the main issue that Elevate was really suffering from, and Agra, you touched on this beautifully as well with the item prioritization. It's just that you really can't afford those expensive items because then you're just unable to really pack a punch into those tanky, beefy warriors.
Exactly. It's not just about, when we're talking about item builds, it's not just about the item that you're building right then. It's about the item after that and the item after that and how much time you're investing in the one item compared to the other ones. And Zachsy just fits so well with this Izanami in my mind. I mean, this is a guy who has played with a lot of veterans, and he is unleashing that Izanami off CC instantly, and that's what you need. I mean, he's not trying to make some crazy play with it. It's stun into big silence so that Kumbha can't get away or whatever it is, and that's just showing his experience.
Trusting your teammates. Game 1, you said it, and I honestly reiterated on it. they had to get Magi's on Circuit because Fafnir was landing so many stuns. This game, I think it was even more so. I don't think maybe one he missed the whole game, and he was chain CCing perfectly in Dragon form, hitting you with the stun, then hitting you with the leap right after. You're just standing there for 3 seconds, just taking it.
No matter which way you look at it, Obey just had an incredible performance in this set, and I know that they're definitely happy to get that 3 points for themselves locked away and secured. It's going to definitely help them going into day number 3, but we've got the hype man himself standing by. Myflin, how's your interview sounding, buddy?
Thank you very much, Taco. Tom Badger standing here next to Myflin. Fantastic performance. The jungler of the hour. Congratulations on your 2-0. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, honestly. I mean, I couldn't do it without my team, obviously. Like, a worker is only as good as his tools, as much as aggro will tell me otherwise. And my team is nuts.
Very well said. I think that you guys came through. Game number 1 was kind of just you. You were rocking it on that Odin. And then game number 2, you played the Ravana. Our tanky jungle, is that just kind of your thing now?
I wouldn't say it's like my thing. I think the team needs me frontlining, but I think you're right in saying that game 1 was completely me. I think you could have said that game 1 too, like also completely me, but you know, you got 50-50 on it.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think when you watch that second game back, Elevate made a couple of critical mistakes. We always talk about it, but we don't actually dive in. How important it is? I mean, it's important for you to take advantage of your opponent's mistakes, but what's going through your mind in those moments?
When Elevate made the mistakes? I think that when they got their early lead, they could have just farmed up and snowballed that, but instead they're like, let's just go out there and just hammer them into the ground. And I'm like, you can't do that. I'm Ravana. You're Hebo. Like, yeah, come to my speed buff die and give me my lead back. And then, that's how it went down. I was pretty happy about it, honestly.
You guys have played against Elevate, pretty much all year. They have a very different play style than some of the other teams that you play against. How do you prepare against them? Is it any different?
I went to Iron Age and ate a bunch of steak, and then my team told me what to pick, and that's how I prepared. So I'm not really a part of that process.
Ladies and gentlemen, Myflin, the jungler. Last thing I want to ask you is, well, I'm not even going to ask you anything because I know what you're going to say. Just shout out your friends. Do something.
I got a lot of friends at Into the AM, and if you like their gear, use code Myflin for 10% off. Obey, they're dope, but Into the AM, good gear. Let's go.
I can hear the shouts of sellout from the pit. Thank you very much, Myflin. Fantastic performance again. Congratulations on your 2-0. We've got more SCL. Stay tuned.
Starting to calm down with the morning light. I'm in